Welcome back to SB Nation. I'm Brad Wells. We're talking about the NFL and the quarterbacks, and in particular the quarterback draft class of 2012 and how some people are comparing it to the draft class of 1983. That draft class in '83 produced Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, and John Elway. A lot of Hall of Famers in that class. 2012 draft class produced, among others, Andrew Luck, #1 overall, and Robert Griffin III, #2 overall. And while it's probably a little premature in preseason to be calling those two guys Hall of Famers, they have impressed so far both in preseason and in camp. Oh, by the way, both of them play against each other Saturday in the third preseason game between the Indianapolis Colts and the Washington Redskins. Now, both these guys have played two previous preseason games. We're going to talk about Andrew Luck first. Andrew Luck's first preseason game was against the St. Louis Rams, and it was at home. And he looked brilliant in the game. Threw for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. But that's the Rams defense. They're rebuilding. His second preseason game was a much tougher task. At Pittsburgh, Sunday night, primetime game. Having to go into that environment and play is always hard. And Andrew Luck struggled, especially in the first quarter. He threw a pick 6 to Ike Taylor. However, after that pick 6, he led the Colts to 17 unanswered points. So it was that perseverance that really overall made the performance impressive. So far in preseason, Luck has looked very good. Robert Griffin III has played 2 preseason games. His first game was against the Buffalo Bills. And in that game, he looked pretty good. He threw a 20-yard touchdown pass to Pierre Garçon, a player that the Washington Redskins signed in the offseason from the Indianapolis Colts. However, in both preseason games, Robert Griffin III has had some problems holding on to the football. He's had 2 fumbles lost. So that's a bit of a concern going into the regular season. Can Robert Griffin III hold on to the football? The other thing I'm noticing about Griffin in both preseason games, more so in the second than in the first, is that he's making one read and then he's just running the football. In the first game, he was making progressive reads, and it looked very encouraging. In the second preseason game against the Chicago Bears, one read and running the ball. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because Robert Griffin III is very athletic. But at the end of the day, you want to see him throwing the ball for first downs, not necessarily running the ball, because if you're running the ball all over the place in the NFL, it's not really good for your health. Just ask Michael Vick of the Philadelphia Eagles. So against each other, in this rivalry that everyone seems to be playing up, what you want to look out of these quarterbacks, both Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III, is you want to see them completing third downs throwing the ball, not running the ball. For Andrew Luck, you want to see him show the same resiliency and perseverance that he showed playing on the road in Pittsburgh. The game is in Washington. And for Robert Griffin III, you just want to see him go out there and convert third downs. You want to see him look good against the Colt defense that's a little suspect. They're going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 this year for the Colts. So you would think that Robert Griffin III would play well against them, especially their secondary, which has a lot of new players in it. So with Griffin, you want to see consistent play. You want to see him hold on to the football. With Andrew Luck, you want to see him continue to do what he's done in the first 2 preseason games, which is pick secondaries apart. It goes without saying that both of these players are extremely good. They were drafted #1 and #2 overall for a reason. And both of them are good for different reasons. So for this rivalry that everyone's talking about progressing forward, at the end of the day, you just want to see both guys develop into what we think that they can develop, because both of them are very, very good. And this rivalry is very good for the NFL and great for fans in general. So what do you think about these 2 quarterbacks? I think they're pretty good. Subscribe to SB Nation's channel, comment below. We'll see you later.